It is now my honor to introduce our distinguished speaker for the Alabama State University 119th Founders Day Convocation. Our speaker is a true son of the ASU, having earned his bachelor's degree in political science from the university in 1993. He earned his master's degree in human resources development from Bowie State University in Bowie, Maryland. Over the course of his laudable career, Mr. Mack has achieved ascending levels of administrative and executive positions, primarily in the area of human resource management and development. He currently serves as the Deputy Director of the Office of Human Capital at Nassau Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama, a position he has held since 2015. As Deputy Director, Larry Mack is responsible for helping oversee organization and leadership development, academic affairs, training and incentives, workforce strategy and planning, federal labor relations, and employment services and operations. Prior to his Nassau appointment, Mack served as a compensation manager in the human resource branch of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission in Washington. He was the Deputy Director for Strategic Management of Human Capital at the Trading Commission from 2010 to 2013. And for 8 years, from 2002 to 2010, he was the organization's Chief of Human Resource Operations in the Office of Human Resources, responsible for directing the operational staff, classifications, benefits, automated systems, and human resource management activities. Mack's outstanding work in his chosen profession has earned him numerous awards, including the CFTSC's Chairman's Award of Supervisory Excellence, the Office of Personnel Management Director Citation for Exemplary Public Service, the Small Agency Human Resources Council's Charles A. Bradshaw Award, Superior Performance Award, and letters of commendation for outstanding service. Larry Mack is a native of Selma, Alabama, and his wife Tamara also an ASU alum, and his daughter Alexis now reside in Madison, Alabama. And we're proud to say that his son Zachary is enrolled as a student here at the Alabama State University. Please give him a round of applause. On a more personal note, I can say that Larry Mack is a longtime friend and like a brother. We both stumbled on this campus together and journeyed toward our lot in life. But I must say that we've always cherished one another's friendship, and I never tell him that I've always admired him, but I'm telling you now, and that he's been a mentor from a distance. But I can remember as we were trying to find our place in the world, he was working in Washington, and he would always share his floor in Washington when I came, as I was trying to work toward my career. And his wife, Tamara, has been a great friend. And Alexis, she's vying to be the president of my fan club. Now, she has to work it out with third, but she is. And so we're just so thankful that his family is here. We're thankful to have our son back at home to share with us on this very important day, on Founders Day. So without further ado, I bring to you and present to you my friend, my classmate, Mr. Larry Mack.
Good morning, Alabama State University.
Good morning.
It's good to be home. It's definitely good to be home. I thank Dr. Ross for that introduction, a very kind introduction. And to the board, the trustees, to President Ross, to our students, the faculty, the administration, I just want to say how profoundly grateful I am to be standing here to share a few words with you at the 119th Founders Day Convocation at the Alabama State University. It's truly humbling to even stand here. 1993. first class to walk across this stage in this building. Very humble. So I say thank you. Today is arguably the most important day on our institution's calendar. If anybody doesn't know that, you need to understand right now, this is the most important day for this university. We pause to reflect on what 9 people thought was important back in a time when many couldn't get an education. Pooling $500. $500. They wanted to ensure that blacks had the opportunity to be educated. We need to understand the significance of that. We need to know what that means. In 1887, the first classes of what is now the Alabama State University were held here in Montgomery. As seen over the years, this legacy, when we talk about these 9 men, has continued to play a crucial role in helping to develop so many young minds, including mine. I remember every teacher that had an impact on my life. Dr. Ralph K. Bryson, every time you open your mouth, your brain is on parade. Miss Price, Larry, do you have any home training? Dr. Bertie Larkin, she would get on myself and your president, Dr. Clinton Ross. But I also want to make sure we understand and remember those people that also poured into us, that I still have relationships with. The administrative staff. I remember Mr. Jeter in West, always on us. I remember Ms. Braid, always on us. Ms. Piegler, when I was just trying to make sure I could stay in school, the cashier's office. Very important office back in 1993 and still is now. Ms. Glover, who's still here. The first person outside of Dr. Ross, when I brought my son here, I took him to meet Valerie Glover. And he'll tell you that. There's a reason this institution exists, and we need to understand that. So as a product of ASU, I tell you that this is something near and dear to me as far as today's convocation. I was at 4 of these in one of those gold jackets. I was a golden ambassador as well. So I know what it means to be behind the scenes and see how everything works. So even standing behind the scenes today, I've seen how that has even matured along with the university. So for me, I'm sharing with you insights that are very humbling. And so we need to understand what that means. And so for me, I'm proud that my parents instilled in me the things that I need to do to make sure that not only my family, but all those that I come in contact with, understand what it means to be a leader, to be humble, and to be grateful. And that's no different than what the 9 people shared back in 1867. Courage, sacrifice, determination. That's what we need to understand as we sit today. Over my professional career, I can tell you that everything that I've accomplished, personally or professionally, is a direct link to this university. I've never applied for a position. What I was taught here, and this is not a braggadocious statement, what I want our young people to understand is people take note of what you do. People take note of what you do. I've never applied for a position. I didn't have to move to Huntsville. Someone called me. Now, my family was here, of course. My wife and I had always talked about returning at some point. But every position I've held, it was because people noted the work. And you don't have to be standing outside in a pink suit with a fly hat, stacked shoes, for somebody to notice you. Well, you can do what you need to do and people will notice. My point to you is, right now, I have the very resume that was took to Washington, D.C. and shared with the United States Office of Personnel Management. A young lady by the name of Cameron Kellum at the time took my resume and gave it to somebody. I didn't apply, but it was because of the grades that I had here. Now, my dad would not want me to share this with you today, but he told me, son, you can't make it in D.C. on the set. He'll tell you that right now. But I tell you, I spent 23 years in Washington, D.C. before I came back to the position at NASA. My point is, it's not where you start. It's not where you start. Finish. And finish strong. Finish strong. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't compete in this world, because if that's the case, I wouldn't be standing here today. What I'm sharing with you is the founders of Alabama State University, if they didn't do what they did in the way that they did it, we wouldn't be here. I just want to share a few words. And actually, I'm off script. I had a prepared speech, but I haven't necessarily been using it, and I'll tell you why. Everything that we noticed prior to me standing up, it brought back so many memories. What I lived for, that was done 25 years ago. 25 years ago, and it still resonates right now. We have to basically understand, we got to cut our neck off. We got to look down. It's called introspection, people. Introspection. Take a look at ourselves. Stop pointing. If we're going to make sure that this university is here in the next 150 years, there are a lot of things we have to do. We have to stop pointing fingers. We have to put forth an effort to make sure that this university is here. We have to be deliberate. We have to be deliberate. Speaking of the past, when we talk about this university, significant role when it comes to the civil rights movement. More importantly, as a university was being used as a stepping stone to help facilitate some of those things, we produced some of the leaders. Fred Gray, Shuttlesworth, Abernathy. This school, understand what that means. The civil rights movement. So when we talk about ASU and what it's known for, we talk about how it provides supporting learning environments, strong educational foundations, and basic life lessons. ASU was an alternative. Actually, I'll flip back. It was a necessary alternative because you couldn't go anywhere else. This school has helped a lot of young people succeed. And in order for us to ensure that that continues another 150 years, it's incumbent upon each and every one of us to make sure, whatever that means, whether it's financial, human, that means getting your hands dirty, material, whatever, we got to do it. We have to do it. When we look at the present, we talk about how the school has progressed. It doesn't look like the ASU that I graduated from in 1993. So progress has been made, but we still have a long way to go. When we talk about the degree programs that the school offers, we all know education was the cornerstone. You look into the school now, when you look at that website, when you look at all the different degrees, there was no doctoral program when I was here. My point to you is we made tremendous progress, but that journey is not over. That journey is not over. So, I think one of the things that we probably need to make sure that we continue and maintain, the school has made very, very significant use of partnerships. Partnerships that are leveraged to ensure that we can maintain that old Alabama State spirit. Whether it's how Hyundai provided scholarships to students last year, or if you look at the grants that are being offered by Maxwell Air Force Base. We can even look at, when we talk the athletic program, partnerships with various sporting groups. My point is, we have to basically make sure that we understand the game and how to play the game. So, I share with you that the efforts that we're putting forth, I'd like to use Isaiah 58, verses 10 through 12, where it speaks of inspiring to be selfless and reaching out to those in greatest need and supporting those that need help. Think about it. Alabama State University served as a disaster relief evacuation site. My point to you is social innovation or making social statements, we've always done that. We've always done it. And we need to continue doing that. When people are at their worst, we've always been there. We can't forget that. We got to refine what we do. That brand someone just talked about, that ASU brand, you have to keep shining that brand. Let me tell you why. It's just like a pair of shoes. You get caught in the rain, you got to keep buffing. That shine is not going to last. So my point is, we can't lose sight of from whence we came, where we are, and what that vision is for the future. According to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, historically black colleges and universities are credited with creating the American black middle class. The report states that HBCUs produce 40% of African American members of Congress, 40% of engineers, 50% of professors at predominantly white institutions, 50% lawyers, 80% judges. Now, when I look at the alumni of Alabama State University, I know we continue to honor that legacy that was established a long time ago. In particular, we produce educators, engineers, attorneys, ministers, physicians, judges, entertainers, and even university presidents. As we deal and prepare for an era of transformation, ASU is poised to tackle the future over the next 150 years. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King comes to mind, where he said, "We must combine the toughness of the serpent and the softness of the dove and a tender heart." So for me, I say in looking at the future, we must be deliberate yet humble. Deliberate yet humble in how we prepare for the future. As such, we have a great opportunity to position ASU to yield long-term positive outcomes to become catalysts of innovation. We must create our own success by continuing to make sure that brand is relevant and effective. We have to make sure that we are competitive in recruiting, retaining, and graduating future Hornets. That's our role right now. We must also value social innovation. We have to engage students in science, technology, engineering, arts, which was just on display, and mathematics. And we have to leverage economic empowerment and continue those partnerships. What I share with you today, we must get better at getting better. We must get better at getting better. We have to leverage ASU for what it is and what it can be. We have to make smart investments. We got to make sure that image does not become a dull statue. We have to increase our enrollment. We have to establish listen to this, a readiness and a sustainability plan. And we have to enhance everything that we do, including our research efforts. ASU is a byproduct of social innovation. So as we become more sophisticated in understanding diversity and the role it plays in educational experiences, we should support the adoption of a new metric system supporting the ASU experience. This will help express the intrinsic value that we bring. The lessons taught and the lessons I learned at ASU are priceless. I can share with you, I remember the first night I met my first roommate, Kenny Lee. 2 o'clock in the morning, you turn on every light in Card Hall. Every light. But my point is, I've always adored this brother. My other 2 roommates, Dr. Lonnie Felton, same thing. Like a brother. Thomas, like a brother. My point is, this is a stop or a layover. But those relationships should not sever. I have a few keys that I'd like to share with you that I think that Mary and I will want us to make sure that we don't forget. It's all the foundational piece that comes from everything that they did in preparing to make sure that Alabama State is what it is today. The first one is purpose. I'm quite sure they want us to understand and not miss what our purpose is. We have to find and understand why Alabama State University exists. We can't forget that. We have to understand what's the force behind the school. Number 2, passion. What compels us to go above and beyond for this university? They did it. Number 3, patience. If I may use Psalms 46, verse 10, be still and know that I am God. Patience is not simply the ability to wait, it's that behavior that we demonstrate while we're waiting. It's important. When we talk about perseverance, if those men did not persevere, we wouldn't be here. Success is no accident. When the world says give up, hope whispers try it one more time. You never know how many miles you will have to run while chasing a dream. I say, don't chase a dream. Tap it. Frederick Douglass shared that if there's no struggle, there's no progress. Perform. All of us should understand what that means. This university has to perform. Our students have to perform. We have to work in silence and let our success be the noise. Work in silence and let the success be your noise. I tell my son all the time, so excuse me, I just tell him to shut up. Shut up. I'm being honest. I mean, I'm telling you, this has brought a real sense of awareness for me. Don't let a bad day make you feel like you got a bad life. Practice like you never won and perform like you never lost. That means you're not going to give up. You're going to continue to work. The one thing that we all have to do, we have to take care of our bodies, physical fitness. There's no way we can make sure this university is here another 150 years if we're not taking care of our bodies. We have to understand that this school is a privilege. The privilege of a lifetime is being a part of the Alabama State University family. And we have to understand, with great privilege comes greater responsibility. Peer pressure. This is important to me. I think this is one that Mary and I would also want us to understand that, because if they allowed somebody to get to them, they wouldn't have done what they did. Peer pressure is pressure you put on yourself to fit in. Simple. Why fit in? When you were born to stand out. Be yourself, because an original is worth more than a copy. So what we got to tell our kids is, do what's right. convenient. Procrastination, all of us, we've done it. But procrastination is opportunity's assassin. Procrastination makes easy things hard and hard things hard. And the last one, which is the biggest one, huge part of my life, has helped me get through a lot of things. Prayer. This school needs every one of your prayers. And what we have to do is we have to understand that when we pray, we're not praying for an easy life for Alabama State University. We're praying for the strength to endure a difficult one. That's what you're praying for. If you believe in anything, you understand that concept. We are praying to endure strife, valleys, trials, tribulations. That's good. But you can't just pray when it's all good. I think from a perspective of how we position ourselves in prayer, your prayer should be the key of the day to unlock that morning. And then you use it again to lock it at night. Very simple. But I share that because those are some very effective points that I believe that I've implemented within my life since I left Alabama State, since I've basically gone through my career, and of course as I come in contact with young people today. In a similar fashion, ASU has to continue to serve, and since our inception in Marion, Alabama, to make sure that we play a pivotal role in transforming the landscape of higher education in the United States. At a time when many schools barred their doors to Black Americans, ASU offered the best and often only opportunity for higher education. So when we look at our ancestral history, our progress and our resilient desire to academically achieve excellence despite the odds, it is fuel for our fire to improve future generations and to establish a more robust legacy. Old Mother Dear will continue to be a beacon of light in our community, similar to the past, present, and well into the future. So I'm going to share a few things with you, and then I'm prepared to sit down. We need a survival kit. Some very basic things that we can have in our pockets, in our office, in the dorm, in our car. This survival kit, I believe, will help us move forward the next 150 years. Very simple items that I'm about to give to you, but very, very poignant when you talk about their meaning. You need a toothpick. You need a toothpick. That toothpick reminds us that we can pick out the good qualities in others that we come in contact with and to represent the school. Number 2, a rubber band. That rubber band reminds us that we have to be flexible. Things might not always go our way or turn out the way we want it, but things will work out. Number 3, we need a Band-Aid. That Band-Aid reminds us to heal hurt feelings. Ours or someone else's. Number 4, a pencil. That pencil reminds us to list or count all of our blessings every day. We need an eraser. That eraser reminds us that every person, even ourselves, make mistakes. And that's all right. Number 6, chewing gum. To remind us to stick with it. And if we can accomplish great things, just stick with it. Don't give up. The last one is mint. That mint reminds us that we are worth of mint. We are valuable to our Heavenly Father and to others in our lives. So when prepared to close, I take note of a famous astronaut, African-American female astronaut, Mae Jemison. She gave a few thoughts on persevering. She said, never limit yourself because of others' limited imagination. Never limit others because of your own limited imagination. For those 9 men, it wasn't an easy journey, but they were able to make it through the adversity, the pain, and the suffering, because they didn't let anybody limit their efforts. That's why we're here today. So here's my challenge. I challenge you to lead from where you sit. If you're a student, lead. If you're faculty, lead. If you're an administrator, lead. If you're Dr. Quentin T. Ross, lead. Create positive habits. Emulate the incessant desire and drive our founders had to overcome the obstacles they encountered. How will you support this vision of investing in our next generation of leaders and difference makers? What are you prepared to do to pay it forward? A lot of people poured into Larry Mack. I just gave you examples. That's why I'm here today. That's why I've been here ever since I returned in 2015. Prior to that, I did it in Maryland with the alumni chapter there. My point is, what are you prepared to do to ensure this university can fulfill the lofty mission that was established 150 years ago, 52 now? How will you define your journey? How will you write your story to contribute to ASU's legacy? Find ways to contribute to the success of this school, whether it's supporting it financially or through your talents. Alabama State University is still writing its chapter. It's still writing its book. How will you help contribute to that story? This is our story, our journey. I thank you for allowing me to share a few words with you. It has truly been an honor to just stand in this facility that I saw being built, and then have the privilege to come and just be on a stage where people can listen to me. But I thank you for everything that you do for the school. I thank you for giving me a few minutes. May God bless the school, the university, the students, the staff, the board of trustees. I want to say one thing. I'm sorry. But this is for young people. I got to make sure everybody has something. Hashtag opportunity is here. Hashtag ASU is my HBCU. Hashtag something good at Alabama State. Thank you.